There's so many problems in this world today. So many problems. I want to chat a little bit about capitalism and head on over to Facebook because there's a lot of shit going on. Apparently, China is surrounding Taiwan right now, and no one really know. I don't want to speculate, but no one really knows what's going on, obviously, besides China and most likely Taiwan. They're probably like, I come now, I fuck you. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. What the fuck are we doing? Just land disputes, man. It's all about the money, right? It's all about the money. Everybody wants money. They want to be rich, famous, powerful. Powerful people. That's why, like today, when I was doing shopping, picking orders up, etc., so many people looked really, really miserable. You walk into a store and they look at you like, why are you here? I understand. I can sympathize, empathize with that because when I used to work in retail, which I still do, but when I was in my beginner ages and stages where people will walk in, I'll be pissed off because they want to order late or I wanted to go home early all the time. And it's not because I didn't want to work. I always had multiple jobs. I'm like one of the hardest working people. In my 20s, I was literally one of the hardest working people you would meet. And I surrounded myself with some of the hardest working people you would meet. And then once I got into my 30s, I started understanding things a lot more, like the value of working and money and what we have to do. And a lot of that came because my daughter, when I was 28 years old, she was born. So, that started to shift my mind. And now I'm in a place in my life where I'm just like, okay, we have to work and follow the rules of society in order to get along in society because you can't be walking out here broke. It makes you desperate. And when I say broke, I don't mean being poor with the poor mentality, as Dave Chappelle used to say that his father used to say. But I mean, like, just not enough money to do things that I want to do. And a lot of the times you have to change your habits. But in situations like this, what we're dealing with in the United States of America right now, it's a lot. It's past that. We're already past that point. A lot of these rental places are like, you have to make three times your income to live here. So, okay, who's making that right now? Like, to point them out because we're in a huge deficit. Credit cards are fucking out of control right now, especially with the interest rates. The majority of people that I know are barely getting by, including myself, barely getting by. That's not to say that the majority of people that I know are not ambitious and wanting to do better. We just can't navigate this system. Give you an example. Right before COVID, people were thriving, including myself. Dude, I had a book, I just released it, and we were ready to go full throttle. And this is not to make an excuse, but who the hell wants to buy a restaurant book when all the restaurants are closed? I was trying to consult restaurant owners. It was just like, no, who the fuck wants to listen to that? So we had to change things up. I had to change my business model. I was working with my buddy in Salty Sailors. We were trying to sell metal prints. At that time, it was dope picks and dope edits. And we kept trying to just figure it out. How can we navigate this system? And of course, none of us are perfect. We've made a lot of mistakes. But now we're in a point where it's just like, okay, not only can we, it's hard to navigate the system, but now you have a lot of angry people. And the reason why I say that, fuck online. I'm not worried about TikTok and all that. It's what I see with my eyeballs. It's well over, I visit hundreds of businesses on a weekly basis. So let's say, okay, let's be fair. I visit about hundreds of different businesses on a monthly basis and working all different types of shifts. So I see different crew members and different shift leads and different managers in the same, restaurants or businesses or supermarkets. The majority of people I see are miserable. You walk through the door and they make you feel miserable. And a lot of that has to do with money and the pressures of society when you're watching people hit the lottery. It makes you anxious because now you want to hit the lottery. When you see rappers that rap bullshit and they have all this money and cars and jewelry, which is a lot of the time is fake, but you see that in videos and the people that you follow, and you become anxious. Why? Because you want that life. You want those rims on your car. You want those Timbs on your feet. You want all this fashy shit, fancy shit, because you see that what from what you see online. And in some cases, you see that in person. People with a lot of money possess a lot of power. Yeah, because you can have all the money in the world, like this man right here, Elon Musk. It. I like Elon Musk. I don't think he needs that much money. I know what he's doing is relevant, and because of his stance, he has to have enough money to pay for security and pay for just to be out of reach from regular people that are angry, that want money, that want to be rich just like him. Even some of the billionaires want to be rich just like him. Like, how greedy can you possibly be if you're a millionaire and you're trying to figure out how to be a billionaire like Elon Musk? Capitalism has no checks and balances. Like, once you're a capitalist, bro, you could do whatever you want. Get away with murder in some cases. And yes, we've seen it live on television. When I walk into restaurants and, supermarkets and all that, I kind of get why people are angry, frustrated, but I don't understand why you allow money to control you. Wanting money is one thing, but chasing money to a point where it's controlling you, that's a total different basket. A lot of the business owners that I've dealt with, a lot of people that had power that I've dealt with, they don't like me too much. It's not because I annoy them in a way where, the way I talk, or if I chew with my mouth open, or I'm stealing, or, just being obnoxious and certain, which I was very obnoxious, when I was drunk in my crazy drinking days before my daughter came, and then I started to slow down, and now I'm a normal human. Before I really wasn't. But, just I guess like the majority of people that didn't like me was because I was honest to a certain extent when it came to money. And when people can't control you with the dollar bill, they don't like you. Like if they can't control you with money, it's like I've had people in my life that wanted to pay me for certain things, and I'm like, nah, I'd rather do it for free or volunteer because I don't want you telling me what to do. If you need help, don't pay me, especially if you're my friend or family member. I would rather not. I'd rather barter per se. And I've dealt with that with a lot of people. Oh yeah, I'll pay you more if, don't you want to be a manager like in Publix when I work for Publix? They're like, don't you want to be a manager and make more money? Man, you can make up to $20 an hour. You just gotta perform and, you know, Make sure the shelves are stocked, regardless if you throw the food out. Just make sure there's like 10 chickens there because one person might walk in last minute and they might sell out, but we just got to keep that much chicken there just in case one person comes. But then that one person either comes or not, or maybe three people came, but you made 10 chickens, rotisserie chickens just to make sure that there's enough if you get a little rush. But guess what? If that rush doesn't come, where do the chickens go? Straight to the trash. Not to the employees that are working hard and busting their ass all day. No. Wait, we can't give that to you. What are you, crazy? If we did, we can't write it off. You have to prove the weight. They throw all the excess meat in this bin, especially when it comes to cold cuts. And that's how they, like, oh man, you guys got this much meat. Who the hell knows what they do with that meat? Because they keep it frozen, or not frozen, they keep it cold. Who the hell knows what they do with that meat? They're not donating it. That's for damn sure. But, when it comes to capitalism and stuff, money makes people funny, man. Elon Musk doesn't need that much money. No one needs that much money. It'll be nice if we had a cap on capitalism. You know, we have too many franchises. Like, why do I need to go to California, Florida, New York, Arkansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, Las Vegas, Nevada, and everywhere I go, there's a McDonald's, and not only is there McDonald's, it all tastes the same. Oh man, can't wait to get my McDonald's. What happened to going out and exploring different restaurants and different foods? Well, it's almost impossible to do that. If you have a really good authentic Chinese restaurant, and the food, it could be a little pricey. It's a mom and pop shop, so there's more love in the food. There's better ingredients. So yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more. But then you open up a Panda Express next door where it's all shit fake food. There's pretty much zero effort to make because all of it's coming in mostly pre-made, breaded chicken. The noodles are already cooked. They're in a bag. You don't need to boil the noodles. You don't need to boil the rice. That already comes pre-made in a bag. So not only can you undercut next door's mom and pop shop, but eventually you're going to put them out of business, especially in an economy like this where people are just like, okay, I got to make a choice. I do want to eat out, but I have 40 bucks. Can I feed my family with that? Let's just think about a local chicken wing spot. I love chicken wings. All right? I love chicken. Everybody knows that. Love my chicken. But you have a local chicken wing spot that's dope as hell, been there for years. But then Kentucky Fried Chicken comes up. And again, you have $40 left to your name. You want to support the local mom and pop shop, but you can't because you got to feed your family and you're not in the mood to cook. So you just go get a $20 bucket, filler upper, $20 filler upper bucket, shit food, shit chicken. God knows where the fucking chicken's coming from because they're mass producing all this food to please you, and then they throw out 25% of it because no one ate it. But you need to have that 25% extra stock just in case you get enough people because you don't want to turn them around, right? Can't go to KFC and you run out of chicken. There's a successful business out here called Hibachi Buddha. They close shit. Sometimes they close at 6:30, 7 o'clock. They don't stay open to 9 or 10. They run out of food and ingredients. That's it. They're not gonna overstock just to please you. That why? Why? Because now they're gonna overstock just to please you, waste food, drain their fucking lives just for what? So you can have dinner? No. We have all these supermarkets with like no one could have a nice little farm and offer you tomatoes anymore because you could just go to Walmart and get them for cheaper. And those tomatoes are coming from China. And most of the time they spray that shit just so it can look like it's right, but it's not. I've had apples in my fridge for like weeks. I've had apples on my counter for about a week or two, and now it's starting to become ripe where you can eat it. They it's fucking crazy. You know, a lot of the food that we're eating and we're not paying attention to it. Some of the meats they spray that shit so it could look red. You know, when it comes to steaks and even ground beef. It's like Bumpy Johnson in American Gangster when he's in that superstore. They selling everything you could possibly buy in one spot. All the mom and pop shops like just slaughtered. When it comes to capitalism, I do understand that we do need centralized things like internet, electricity, water, which we're taking full advantage of from the public. Because if you have a major city with buildings, right, obviously you need to centralize the water and like everything needs to come from a grid. You can't build a farm and a house for 10 feet up with no sun. Or, sorry, 10 stories up with no sun or anything, and the proper climate to grow what you need to grow. Or having chicken coop in a apartment. So by default, you have to depend on some of these markets, but it doesn't have to be a supermarket. You know, in the Bronx, when I was growing up, we had supermarkets, but you also had chicken pens. I remember, man, you could smell the chickens from down the street. Fucking hundreds of chickens in a pen. You had your local meat butchers and it was like a lot more was separated. Pizza shops. I remember when Papa John's came to New York in the Bronx, and where the hell is Papa John's at? Throgs Neck or some shit. And people were shocked, even with 7-Eleven. I was shocked. The first time I saw 7-Eleven, I'm like, hmm. That's when I was like, okay, you could just go to 7-Eleven and not the local corner store. And now there's 7-Elevens everywhere, and that's all centralized. And it sucks because when you're a mom and pop shop, you don't work by the hour. You work by the day and what you make and what you sell. You know, you have these people waking up and it's like, oh God, I gotta go to work. I'm only making $18 an hour. When is this gonna end? I'm only like you have a ceiling to your income if you're not a hustler, you know? And we shouldn't blame people that are not hustlers. They still should be able to survive. But that's the thing. You're taking away all the hustlers that would do it for their own self-interest to build a business and have that business there and treat people with respect. Because when you're actually competing, you see in the capitalism, one of the definitions is like a competition. So when you're actually competing with another pizza shop across the street, you're not competing for how fast you can get the pizza out. You're competing to who has the best pizza, who has the most consistent pizza. The speed is irrelevant. I don't want fast pizza. I want good pizza, quality pizza. But now you have Domino's, Pizza Hut, and all that shit. It's like robots. You don't even need people to make that. Well, once the AI comes out with the robots and shit, yo, all y'all jobs are obsolete for franchises because everything is going to be pre-made. And you just bring it to it's just like when I worked for Publix once again. The salads you make, it's all pre-made. All you have to do is separate the individual packaging and pour it in, and boom, you're done. What competition? What are you competing with? You're only competing to get food out faster, not quality food. There's no scratch making food anymore. It should barely exist. And even in places where you go for like mom and pop shops and shit, even them, they're becoming like so superficial where a lot of them are not even using the proper ingredients to make their food. And I don't blame them too because, the prices are getting high for everything. Everything is expensive right now. Everything is expensive. And it's not fair. And that's why when you walk into a lot of these restaurants, when you walk into these supermarkets, like people are miserable, they're upset, they have the right to be upset because it's like you're hopeless. You just go in there to work and retire. And then by the time you retire, if you get to retirement, if that business still exists, if your retirement is not set up to a point where you're matching the wage of inflation, you're fucking cooked. Especially how fast things are going now. Yo, shit just rapidly increased in prices. So if you had a retirement plan before, um, let's even say 2018, you better start adjusting that shit. Because, yo, things are getting very expensive very fast. And what prices are you gonna drop? For prices to even out and match, if you want wages to match inflation as things go up, you're pretty much asking billionaires, millionaires, and greedy people, because if you have that much money in the bank and you're hoarding it, okay, you can have money in the bank so long as you're recontributing to the community. Because capitalism is capitalism. I get it. If you're a rapper, you sell a product, even if you're a rapper and you sell your album for $1, you're going to be better off than the person buying your album. Period. Period. So again, you don't, no one needs to have that much money. It's so stupid. So stupid. Like we're selling music that is not on a CD anymore and it's still the same price as CDs used to be, if not more. But you're not using anything. Like and it's all about the money. That's the problem. Like people, that they get so wrapped up like, yo, you got to be rich. And in order to be rich, you got to abandon your family because a lot of the times these entrepreneurs that have kids and a family, they abandon them. You can't do both. You cannot be an entrepreneur and raise your family. I'm sorry. It just can't happen. Not if you're an involved parent, can't do it. This is the kind of thing that frustrates me about Erica Kirk right now because who's raising her kids if she's on the road doing doing all this? She's not. Caroline Levitt. You're not giving, how can you possibly give your kids tender loving care when you're in the White House? And if the father is doing it, I hope. But if you're hiring babysitters for the sake of having the money to do it, for the sake of you making more money, mm-mm. Your priorities are skewed. For me, I'm gonna go hard. Once my daughter is of age, and if I don't so happen to find, a woman to start a family, because you never know, life is unpredictable. Bro, I'm going full throttle on the things that I wanted to do before she was born. But I put that shit on hold, bro. You can't do both. And I've written a lot of books. I have two published, and I didn't push it as hard as I want to because I have to travel. I can't abandon my daughter. Not right now. It can't happen. I can't do both. I'd rather sit here and talk shit behind a microphone, get the frustration out, communicate with some people, debate some people, interview some people, get interviewed by some people, all from the comfort of my home where I know my daughter's going to be safe. And obviously, I'm not home right now. I'm traveling. I'm waiting for my new place as well. So, um, we capitalism is a crazy monster. We need it for water again. We need it for electricity, and not capitalism like a centralized major corporation to run these things. But why does a CEO of, let's say, Dominion Energy need to get paid like $1 million for what? Why? Is he working as hard as other people, or just because he, quote, earned his stripes? Yeah, people that's been working for companies for 20, 30, 40 years. Should they get $1 million a year? $50,000 bonuses on Christmas for what? Why y'all getting that? There's no need for that. CEOs don't need to get paid that much. But you want to like match a status, right? So it's like, I'm CEO and I make X amount. It's sort of like when public servants walk into an office and come out rich. Why? Why are the board of commissioners getting paid $250,000 in Collier County? What's the point of that? What justifies public servants to walk out millionaires? There's no justification. There's no justification. You didn't invent anything. And even for people who do invent things like, let's say, electricity, what's that worth? Because if someone invented a new way of energy, they're gonna demand $100 billion. Why? Because they know that the fucking companies buying it are gonna take advantage of us, the people, we the people, and they're gonna charge the fuck out of us, and they know that they're gonna scale their dollars up. It's like when cell phone companies first launched. I still have a T-Mobile bill that they keep fucking harassing me for 22 years later, bro. Okay? They sent me something like a couple of years ago saying, excuse me, saying that I owe $700 because I went over my minutes in 1 month. And now suddenly everything is unlimited. When TVs start dropping. And I know what it is. I mean, to answer some of your questions, because I don't want to complain without solutions. A lot of the time, you have to put the price up on stuff because then you can't control the production. So, like with PlayStations and TVs and, even guns, if you make everything cheap, you're going to have a problem when it comes to mass production because then everyone's going to want it. Everyone's going to want that or need it per se. Like shoes are a necessity for your feet in this concrete jungle. Is it a necessity in the African jungle? No. Feral humans survive. We did for thousands of years. There's no reason why I'm traveling to Italy and going to a Carrabba's. That shit is insulting. And I've heard that people do that. They will like go to Japan and go to McDonald's. You're in a total different culture. Enjoy the culture. Because what we're doing when we buy these things, you're not supporting the locals, first of all. You may be supporting the local workers that need to get paid, without you buying it. Yeah, they're not going to have a job and get paid. And I don't even know if there is a way that we can change all of this, but it has gotten way out of hand. And when they're talking about, a limited or minimal government intervention, that's absolute bullshit. It's not true. The government has maximum intervention, and we've allowed them. And because of that, when I walk into restaurants, people look miserable and pissed off. And it's not because they hate me, it's because they hate their situation. But we can be better as a people. If you really are angry about your job, went to college, and I didn't even finish high school. You know how many people are hired with college degrees? It'll disgust you. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And then you have teachers that are out there giving it their all. These teachers, because of the way society is set up right now, they are some of the most important tools to this entire system because they're with your kids more than you are actively throughout the year. Why are they not getting paid like athletes? What the fuck are these athletes doing for society besides entertaining them? Nothing. And Like Taylor Swift, she donated. She's such a philanthropist. She goes out there and donates all this money. What is she doing with all that money? Why are you charging people that much money to go to a fucking concert? And then when you go to the concert, I don't know if anybody knows this. I know this because I used to book major acts, and not that I was, I fell. No, I could say I fucking earned that shit. No, I was booking acts, and what happens is when you get a major headliner, you sell more than 80% of the tickets, or if you sell out the show, you get 80% of the retail and the bar sales and the food sales. And the thing that bothers me about that, especially when it comes to all these rappers and they're like, yo, I gotta make 500,000 for the show, cuz also ain't coming. Why does he need that $500,000 for one show, 30 minutes, 1 hour, maybe, lip singing over his own fucking tracks? Because he needs to go to the strip club, cut and floss. Like what is he gonna look like if he can't go to a strip club and throw all this money around? Hmm? Okay. Well, a lot of these rappers are ironic because they talk about, Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and all these other people. And all these white folk, like, oh my God, they're like taking advantage and they're child molesters and shit, bro. Why? You ever thought about just holding a gathering, like a little town hall, and asking some of these women, do you guys, who here wants to go to school? Y'all want to go to school? Like, yeah, I'll put you through college. I'll pay your full tuition because a lot of the times, like trade schools and stuff, it's not that expensive. It's relatively cheap to learn a trade and a skill. But for you guys, especially a lot of these rappers, which the older I get, the more I'm just like, damn, bro, like this is fucking crazy watching these videos. What you're doing is saying, come here, come dance on my lap and I'll pay your tuition. So all of y'all fucking screwed. Anyone that was on the Epstein list, anyone that's a rapper going to strip clubs, anyone going to strip club, any of that shit. And again, I'm not innocent, bro. I used to go to strip clubs when I was very young, especially in Kentucky. Like, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I guess what I'm saying is as you grow, you start realizing these things, and it kind of seems like we have a lot of adults that are even my age or older that are still continuing these destructive patterns to society. If you really want to help the community, just do it. Just help them. And you wouldn't have to help the communities if you didn't take so much out of the communities. Because as soon as the majority of rappers or athletes and actors and actresses, as soon as they get money, they get the fuck out of their hometown. And a lot of the times they don't go back. A lot of the times they could give two fucks. So why we don't need people hoarding money and resources because that's what it comes down to. You're not only hoarding money, but you're hoarding resources. And then when you have these major corporations like Walmart, Target, all these places, they're selling mass amounts of bullshit. You don't need any of it. I don't remember the last time I went clothing shopping, and I think I'm due for it only because I wear and tear through my clothing. And if you think for 1 second that I'm going to Guess or Old Navy or any of these places, you're out of your fucking mind. However, I do get Old Navy and Guess and stuff like that because I go to a thrift store. And, granted, other people are buying it and donating it. That's fine. I'm not paying $50 for a t-shirt. I'm not paying $30 for a pair of jeans. I'll go to the thrift store and get it. And if I can't find it in a thrift store, I will go to any kind of generic place like Walmart to buy the cheapest thing that I could possibly get. Some items like sneakers, I will pay. It all depends on the value. I'm not gonna buy like Nikes because they're Nikes. I'm gonna buy a pair of shoes, and if it's $60 for a pair of shoes because I know it's gonna last me X amount of time, I will get it. I used to buy Walmart shoes. The problem with that is that yeah, some of them are $20 and stuff, but they don't last that long. Like I will run through it. Like I've put holes in my fucking shoes. I swear to God, like it's fucking crazy. I'm always moving. I'm always doing something. Uh, capitalism has came to the point, or has gotten to the point. My throat is getting dry. This is my like third take because I kept forgetting to hit one button on each take. One take, it was like I forgot to hit record. The other take, I forgot to hit record again. And then I forgot to hit the sound for a recording just in case I wanted to show you like a video on YouTube. And it was just a mess, a complete mess. I didn't even take a drink of it because I don't want to. We're about to be done anyway. Um, yeah, capitalism is just like it's gotten way out of control. Way out of control. And because of that, everybody wants to compete to have more money and who has more money than who has better items than who. Look at my rims, look at my car. All of that shit is so unnecessary. And if for anyone that believes in God, what the fuck are you doing? If you believe in the Christian doctrine, what are you doing? Or even the Jewish doctrine, what are you doing? Why are you storing all your treasures on earth? It's either you're a Christian or you're not. It's either you're Jewish or you're not. And as far as Muslims, I can't talk too much about that. But according to one day, I do want to read the Quran, and you can't read it in one day. It takes like years of studying for sure. With the Bible, it took me nearly a decade of studying to get a grasp of what I'm reading. I know I cannot quote verses because I'm not that pompous fuckface that I can't stand when people do that. When John Trump, it's like, okay, dude, calm down. All right. Because you could know all the verses you want, but if you're not living by a standard, what's the point? If you're a doctor and you have, your PhD, masters, and all that shit, but you're a car mechanic. Okay. You understand? Maybe not. Maybe I don't make sense. I don't fucking know. I'm not here to please everyone. Uh, there's a lot to talk about with that. We can do a lot better. And really quick before we leave. Oh, we'll go through this another day. I just wanted to go over the Walmart economy because Walmart actually has its own economy. It's crazy. It has its own economy. It's so weird. And look at that. They're undercutting competitors by 10 to 25%. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. But anyway, look, we no, we don't all need to be rich. We just all need to learn how to be less emotional when it comes to money. We need to stop allowing money to control us. We shouldn't be buying presidencies. We shouldn't be buying governorships. Like all this politics shit, walking into politics, becoming a public servant and then wasting, $1.5 billion on a campaign that you couldn't even buy your way into is pretty pathetic. And anyone knows what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But until tomorrow, we'll be back in the grind, and that's the end of the show.